Ever wonder how President Joe Biden makes appearances every now and then, like some sort of supernatural force? How is no one even aware how the President of the United States of America doesn't even get caught traveling, especially in war zones? The last very surprising visit our old guy paid was to Ukraine last year. How on earth did he get away with flying helicopters and other forces in the air? Only a handful of people were made aware of his surprise visit. We've got to admit, the president sure has his way of keeping secrets. He was discreet to the point that even the Russians were alerted about his visit only a couple of hours before he got there. Surely there has got to be more that we're not aware of. The Boeing C-32A is just another version of the Boeing 747-200B and makes a lot less noise. And guess what? This is also the main aircraft that the president uses to get around. This aircraft is one of the sole reasons the president doesn't even have to fear advanced security and communication systems. But then again, we have the more preferred military version of the Boeing 757-200, which plays a crucial role when it comes to laying low. More commonly known as the Air Force 2, the C-32A is mainly responsible for transporting the vice president, their family, and staff. And just because it doesn't do such a good job with that, it earns the title of the preferred mode of transportation. This aircraft serves more than just one purpose. It also plays a role in the special air mission for transport needs of higher officials. It also boasts incredible communication capabilities for some of the higher-ups and political officials. Do we need more reasons to know why President Biden chose this option for his trip to Ukraine? I don't think so. The aircraft is just perfect and didn't bring even a shred of suspicion. The US Air Force operates and maintains the Doomsday planes, but those aren't the only aircrafts the president has in his power to accomplish secret travel. Allow us to introduce you to the Doomsday planes. These planes that are more formally known as the National Airborne Operations Centers make sure leaders do not lose their power, even in cases as severe as nuclear wars. These planes have significant importance that it would be impossible to properly coordinate military operations from the air without the assistance of these incredible aircrafts. Guess how long they've been in the picture? Well, these planes have been doing their thing since all the way back in the 1970s. It is only because of the Doomsday planes that the president can so easily and comfortably be guided through the chaotic early stages of a nuclear war. Now that we've talked a lot about Doomsday planes, what exactly are the planes that come under the Doomsday category, you might wonder? One Doomsday aircraft of impeccable performance and great significance is none other than the Boeing E-4B. This aircraft is just an altered version of the Boeing 747-200B. It is nicknamed Nightwatch, and indeed does justice to its title as well. The Boeing E-4B is an aircraft that is advanced even for today's age. This advanced airborne command plot makes certain that all the national authorities are protected during disastrous or chaotic situations, which of course includes the President of the United States and the Secretary of Defense, and everyone else who comes under this group. Moving on to our next Doomsday plane on the list, check out the Boeing E-6 Mercury. Once known as the E-6 Hermes, this plane is actually another model based on the Boeing 737-200, which also performs the function as an airborne command post and communication relay. This one came a little later than the plane that we mentioned previously. It was only around the 1980s that it entered service with the United States Navy. In 1989 to be precise, under the mission name acronym TACOMO, which stands for Take Charge and Move On, the E-6 Hermes was officially made part of the US Army. The next Doomsday aircraft that helps at keeping the president safe is none other than the Northrop Grumman E-10 MC-2A. This aircraft is a multi-role military aircraft that was come up to replace a lot of already existing platforms. This one is more advanced and a modified version of the Boeing 767-400ER and aims to serve as a central command authority for air, land, and sea forces in combat. These Doomsday planes feature some of the most advanced, complex, and high-tech communication tools, which also come with very low frequency antennas. Along with that, it also boasts super high frequency Milstar equipment. These technologies are what makes possible the communication with armed units all over the world. Now, we don't know everything about the plane's resistance to nuclear attacks because some of those things are maintained with the highest level of confidentiality. But what we do know is that the onboard computers and wiring are kept shielded or protected even against thermal and nuclear effects. And what a wonderful addition of features to tools to protect someone. Moving on to one of the more interesting parts of this flight, the cockpit. The cockpit boasts a whole variety of analog controls and hand-wired phones and monitors. The devices and controls inside the cockpit are designed in such a way to function even in the chaos of a nuclear electromagnetic pulse. I mean, how cool is that? To maintain perfect and discrete communications, the aircraft is specifically designed in a way that does not have windows. Of course, except other than those in the cockpit, because how else would the pilot fly the plane? Another plus point about the aircraft would be that it can even be refueled mid-flight during wartime. I mean, how incredibly convenient is that? This helps on so many levels to optimize flying time and could avoid further interruptions during their time on the air. Not much can be done about taking a pause to refill crew supply, but then again, it is such an advantageous aircraft considering so many aspects. But guess what? Things weren't always so secure and fancy. All the way back in World War II, it wasn't even the Navy that took care of the president's travels. The US Army used to be in charge of the president's travels instead. It was like that until 1976, during which it was a collaborative effort between the Army and the Marine Corps when it came to things like helicopter transportation. The Air Force completely took charge of transporting the president to desired destinations, and it appeared as the Navy had no role in it. There was also this unique call sign, Navy 1, which is given to a Lockheed S-3 Viking, which in fact had President George W. Bush as a passenger. In fact, this very same vehicle carried George W. Bush to the USS in 2003. But sadly, once that assignment was taken care of, the retired S-3 was displayed at the National Naval Aviation Museum in Pensacola, Florida, never to be put to use again. Navy 1 was sure one way to make aware that the president was on board. It was almost a customary thing that declared the president was carried in that vessel. But now the iconic Air Force One is the official designation for any United States Air Force aircraft carrying the president. Then we have the United States Secret Service, which provides code names to US presidents, first ladies, and all other important figures and places. This was earlier used for security before electronic communications were made a thing. In recent times, these names serve the purpose of brevity and tradition. The Secret Service, a civilian agency, plays a role so significant in operating the president's motorcade and maintaining vehicles, like even the iconic presidential state car known as Cadillac One or the Beast. They even partner with other agencies such as the Department of Defense and the Coast Guard, and then send reports of expense to Congress to ensure transparency and accountability in the presidential travel costs. Then there are also times when the president chooses to transport via land. During these times, the Secret Service ensures safety with various methods and strategies to keep ground travel as covert as possible. And guess what? The president even travels via bus. The presidential bus, known as Ground Force One, is a bus that provides secure transportation for the president while he journeys over land. The whole reason behind maintaining discretion in travel plans is obviously to ensure the safety of high-profile officials, especially when they travel through areas where the potential security risks, such as active combat zones, are much higher. The Secret Service is not something that came up with all these plans all of a sudden. In fact, they have been involved in planning from the very beginning. It was always there to address security challenges and plan the safest routes. Those involved in planning undergo strict security clearance processes and adhere to pre-travel security protocols to safeguard all aspects of the journey. While there have been speculations about unconventional means of transportation, such as garbage trucks for the president, it remains unconfirmed. However, it does demonstrate the extent to which the government goes to maintain secrecy and security in high-stakes travel plans. Let's say if you get the chance to try one of these travel features for one day, which one do you pick? Let us know in the comments below. Now, you should watch this video to find out why the US president travels with a secret shipping container, and the shocking truth about it.